We locked in. We locked in. Free Puff. Free Puff. Free Puff. Free Puff. Free Puff. I'm down with Puff. Free Puff. Free Puff. Sean G, Podcast from Soul, live from Hillsborough County, Tampa, Florida. The Southern District of New York, the prosecution, submitted a 58-page rebuttal. The prosecution submitted a 58-page rebuttal for the Rule 29 and the Rule 33. Hold on, y'all. Let me get myself together here. We're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. In the Southern District of New York's rebuttal, they request that Judge SUBRAMANIAN deny Puffy and Puffy's legal team a full-out acquittal based on Rule 29. They also, and I did that video, I put that video up today. Y'all make sure y'all go check that out. They also asked Judge SUBRAMANIAN to deny the Rule 33 retrial of the Mann Act. In the Southern District of New York's rebuttal, and in their request to deny Puffy the Rule 29 acquittal, they tell a bunch of lies in that document. This is the document right here. This is the document. In it, what they tried to do with this document is to influence the judge that there was force and coercion in Puffy's Mann Act conviction, right? So this way, they can enhance Puffy 4 levels to give him a bigger sentence. In this document, they talk about Puffy making Jane Doe and making Cassie do the freak-offs, which is a lie. The Southern District of New York knows this. Everybody in the courtroom knows this, because Cassie and Jane Doe were government witnesses, right? That they put on the stand. And the text messages between Puffy and Jane Doe and between Puffy and Cassie repeatedly state that Jane Doe and Cassie wanted to do the freak-offs. Page 9 of 58. Puffy, the defendant, Sean Combs, masterminded every aspect of freak-offs. This is a lie. This is a lie. bottom of page 1, page 9 of 58. That's a lie. Because it came out during the trial that Cassie was the one that set up her freak-offs, right? Jane Doe used to go out and buy special kind of shorts for Puffy to wear and for the male escort to wear. She would go out and buy sexy lingerie, heels. She orchestrated, Jane Doe orchestrated the majority of the freak-offs that she participated in. Cassie and Jane Doe were willing participants in these freak-offs. Not only did that come out during the trial, okay, but interviews that have been done by some of the male escorts on other YouTube channels, Clayton Howard, whose name in the document is Dave, and who was referred to in the courtroom as Dave, and Daniel Phillip, have both come out and said that Cassie was a willing participant. Clayton Howard had a relationship of 7 years, 8 years with Cassie. Allegedly, let me say this. I do not wish Sean Gumby nor the podcast was sold wishes to defame, slander, or libel anybody as it relates to this case. This document that I'm reading from is public information. You can pull it down on pacer.com. There was no force. There was no coercion. Cassie was a willing participant. Jane Doe, willing participant. Jane Doe, this is what she do. This is her occupation. She sells kitty cat through her OnlyFans. This all came out at the trial. During their relationships, the defendant, whenever I say the defendant, we're talking about Puff. The defendant introduced Cassie to freak-offs and Jane to hotel nights. As a part of these nights, Puffy required Cassie and Jane to have sex with male commercial sex workers while he directed, watched, and masturbated. Okay? He did watch. He did masturbate, according to the testimony. He did direct them what to do. But the word required, okay, is not the right word because that implies force, okay? Puffy was acquitted of SCX trafficking. He was acquitted of forced labor. He was acquitted of coercion. Okay? He was acquitted of that. He was acquitted of racketeering conspiracy. The sex acts at freak-offs and hotel nights followed the same typical pattern, which was dictated by the defendant. Here they are, referencing in this Rule 29 denial that the same things that they alleged in their RICO case, okay? Freak-offs and hotel nights took place often, sometimes on a weekly or monthly basis, okay? Here we are again. Cassie and Jane Doe were willing participants. Willing participants. Bottom of page 3. Bottom of page 3. The document title is S324 CR 542 AS. Page 11 of 58. Check this part out, y'all. The defendant forced them to participate in hotel nights when they were still recovering. Forced them. That's a lie. That's a lie. There was no force. There was no force. Not only was Puffy acquitted of coercion at the trial by a jury of his peers, he was acquitted at a jury trial. Not only was he acquitted of that there, YouTube interviews by Daniel Phillip and Clayton Howard, both of them have come out and said that Cassie was never forced, that she wanted it. Jane Doe was never forced. Don, another dude, what was his name? Rico. 4 male escorts have done interviews about the Freakoffs or the hotel nights with Cassie and Jane, and not one of the 4 have said that they thought Jane was forced to do something beyond her will. None of the 2 escorts that have done YouTube interviews have said that Cassie was forced to do something against her will. All 4 men have said that both women were willing participants. But here you have the Southern District of New York, right, who lost that trial, still putting in legal paperwork using the terms forced. Once the plane landed in New York, the defendant demanded a Freakoff. This is a lie. This is a lie. I was at the trial. I was at the trial. This is a lie. They lying. Page 15 of 58. Both Cassie and Jane did not want to have sex with escorts and told Puffy they did not want to have freak-offs or hotel nights. This is a lie. That's a lie, man. That's a lie. 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 Jane Doe set up the hotel nights. Jane Doe would go to the lingerie store prior to the Freakoff and buy sexy lingerie that Puffy liked. She would buy shorts for Puffy and buy shorts for the male escorts for them to wear so it could turn her on. This is a lie. Southern District of New York. Both Ventura and Jane did not want to have sex with escorts and told Puffy they did not want to have. That's a lie, man. Cassie was involved with Clayton Howard for 7 years. He has done interviews saying whenever he would show up and arrive to the Freakoff, she would kiss him, they would talk. Daniel Phillips even caught feelings for Cassie. Clayton Howard caught feelings for Cassie. They both caught feelings for Cassie. They both thought that they were the only ones involved in these freak-offs with Cassie. Judge Submaranian's got to acquit Puffy. We need an acquittal. We need an acquittal. We've gone through this over and over already, that the feds typically don't prosecute Mann Act charges unless there's an underlying predicate offense like sex trafficking or immigration issues. Normally, these are prosecuted at the state level. The feds don't even get involved with this. And the feds, the Department of Justice, put out a ruling in a manual that a Mann Act charge should only be brought in federal court if the person perpetrating the Mann Act is in it for financial gain. A pimp, a madam, a brothel, right? People that are in the business of making money off of the sex of women who are either being trafficked, kidnapped, or forced, have immigration issues where their paperwork and their IDs are taken, and they're forced to engage in prostitution from these people that are controlling them. This is not the case with Puffy. This Mann Act charge, if it was just the Mann Act charge, wouldn't have even been brought. Now, most states, of the 52 states, a lot of them don't even prosecute prostitution cases, right? And if they do, the maximum sentence, a lot of them, is what? 6 months or no time at all, probation. And here Puffy's been in prison for almost a year now. And as Alexandra Shapiro pointed out in her letter advocating for a Rule 33 retrial, Puffy has exceptional reasons, right? He wasn't engaging in prostitution because he was hiring male escorts. At the outset, the Mann Act typically was reserved for women and children, women and girls to be exact, not children, women and girls, underage girls. That's where it all started. There were no underage girls with what Puffy, Cassie, and Jane Doe were doing. They were hiring male escorts to come and have sex with Cassie and with Jane Doe, who were willing participants. These are consenting adults, right? Nobody was forced. These are consenting adults living a swinger's lifestyle, right? Puffy's hiring these dudes from legitimate businesses, websites, Cowboys for Angels, Hunkomania, and is paying the company to refer the escort to them, right, for their time and their entertainment. They were entertainment. A lot of the cases that the Southern District of New York cites, look at this, 1946, 1917. These are the cases that the Southern District of New York is using to justify the Mann Act. 1917 is 109 years ago. Totally different time period, totally different ideology of the people, totally different epoch that we're living in, totally different societal norms, right? This is 2025. 1917, 1946, 1947, 1971. These were far more conservative times than what we have today. Yet, the Southern District of New York are using these precedents to justify not giving Puffy a retrial or giving him a full-out acquittal. 1966. So what it comes down to is, you know, Puff needs to be acquitted or he needs to be given a retrial. Now I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow about the Rule 33. And in the Rule 33 asks for a mistrial. Asks for a retrial because of misjoinder spillover. Misjoinder spillover, right? What does that mean? This is misjoinder spillover. And I'm going to do the full video on this tomorrow. A lot of the evidence, Puffy had 5 counts of 3 different charges, right? 1, racketeering conspiracy. 2, sex trafficking. 3, the Mann Act or prostitution. These were the 3 charges. It was 5 counts because it was 1 racketeering conspiracy, 2 sex trafficking, that's 3, 2 Mann Act, that's 5. Now, in the process of trying to prove the RICO, the racketeering conspiracy, and the sex trafficking, a lot of that evidence that was presented to try to convict Puffy on those, right, prejudiced the jury against Puff as it related to the Mann Act trial, the Mann Act charges, because a lot of that testimony and a lot of that evidence, if Puffy was tried on the Mann Act charges alone, wouldn't have been admissible in court. So what Puffy's legal team is arguing is that there's misjoinder spillover, meaning a lot of the evidence and shit that was said to try to prove the RICO and the sex trafficking spilled over into the Mann Act joint and influenced the jury to convict on that, right? When a lot of that evidence wouldn't have been presented had the Mann Act charges been tried by themselves. So for that reason, Puffy is demanding a retrial. And the retrial will be on the Mann Act charges alone, right? You won't hear any testimony about bribery. You won't hear any testimony about arson, which was a lie. You won't hear any argument about violence and hanging someone over a 17th floor balcony, which was a lie. You won't hear any testimony about coercion, forced labor, kidnapping, none of that. You'll be tried on the Mann Act, and the testimony and the direct examination and the cross-examination will deal entirely and exclusively with the Mann Act. Everybody double tap that screen. Put me on 100 thumbs up. Hit that like button. And if that's the case, if Puffy does get a retrial on the Mann Act, he's almost certain to get acquitted on that too, right? In my opinion. So I read all this today. Here's another lie. The Southern District of New York told. Page 37 of 58. Freakoffs were solely for the defendant's sexual arousal and gratification. Neither Cassie nor Jane enjoyed having sex with strangers in front of the defendant. That's a lie, man. That's a lie. They both said it. They both said it repeatedly in text messages. What we have here, y'all, is consenting adults. And that's pretty much it, man. Cassie was a grown woman. Jane Doe was a grown woman. Puffy was a grown man. The male escorts were grown men. If nobody wanted to participate in it, all they had to do was leave and say no and never come back. But Jane Doe and Cassie had feelings for Puff. They've even said they loved Puff. And they loved the money that came with it. They loved the lifestyle that came with this. So there's no doubt that both Cassie and Jane Doe were willing participants, right? A lot of the videos and a lot of the text messages where Cassie expressed love of the Freakoffs and even Jane Doe came from their cell phones. Their cell phones had this information on it. One Valentine's Day, Cassie, as a surprise for Puff, rented a hotel room on her own. Cassie, on her own, rented a hotel room, arranged for a male entertainer to come, for a male escort to come. She arranged for the Freakoff, and on the bed in the hotel room, she made a big heart with rose petals on the bed and invited Puff to come and have a Freakoff. This was under her own volition, without Puff. Jane Doe told Puffy under her own volition that she was going to do an all-star party. Jane Doe herself was going to invite 3 men or 4 men that she, of her choice, to come and do a hotel night. She was going to have sex with 3 or 4 men for Puffy. She called it an all-star party. She arranged this. She picked the men. This was her doing. There was no force. There was no coercion. Page 43 of 58. Cassie and Jane testified that they had to participate in freak-offs and hotel nights. Often, sometimes every week. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. They wanted to do it. Jane Doe lived 30 minutes from Puffy's house in LA, and he still only saw her, this came out at the trial, every 5 weeks, every 2 months. They only saw, Jane Doe and Puffy only saw each other every 5 to 6 weeks or every 2 months. That's not every week, that's not every month. Jane Doe and Cassie hooked up with and got with male escorts by themselves when Puffy was out of town, or when Puffy wasn't around, or if Puffy was with some of his other women. They themselves would call up the male escorts and engage in sexual escorts and sexual experiences with these escorts when Puffy wasn't around. Page 45 of 58. Page 45 of 58. The evidence related to hotel nights with Jane was equally clear. Approximately 90% of the time that Jane saw Puffy, there was a hotel night. One of the regular escorts at these nights was Cabral Williams. Jane Doe is such a liar. She got on the stand and she tried to make it sound like her and Puffy were in a relationship. My partner, my partner. They were never in a relationship. Jane Doe sold kitty cat. That's what she do. She is a call girl. That's what she is. But the Southern District of New York and the prosecution made her testify to the fact that as if she and Puff were in a relationship, and they weren't. Puff didn't look at her like that. And he told her from the gate, I'm single. I got a bunch of men. If you want to leave, leave. If you don't want to be with me no more, bye. But Jane Doe chose to stay. One of the components that the Department of Justice, the Federal Department of Justice, outlined in order for a federal prosecutor to prosecute prostitution is that the people that were committing this crime had to be doing it for financial gain. They had to be doing it for financial gain. This is the rule from the Department of Justice, from the feds. But the Southern District of New York is going to try to circumvent that, or they have, and they prosecuted Puff where there was no financial gain. Puff had no financial gain. He did not engage in sex with the male escorts. He stood back and he watched. Told them, do this, do that. And these are the exceptional reasons that Alexandra Shapiro talked about in her letter motion, that Puffy's case is totally different from any of the prior Mann Act charges, even the ones who were convicted under the Mann Act, 18 USC 2421. There was no sex trafficking. There was no force. There was no financial gain. There was no trafficking of women and children. Excuse me, women and girls. I mean, none of it fits. None of it fits. And they make the argument, the Southern District of New York makes the argument in here that, well, during the jury instructions, Puffy agreed to the jury instructions. Agnifilo and Puffy's team agreed to the jury instructions. All right, so what? We agreed to it then, but we were fighting some very serious charges. The prostitution charge was the least of our worries. Most of Puffy's lawyers' times and their mental energy was geared toward winning the acquittal on the RICO and the sex trafficking, because those carried the harsher sentences. Life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Mann Act charges were small potatoes. But the fact that we agreed to it then doesn't mean that we can't later on discover that we went wrong and we're trying to rectify the situation. You know, because we messed up the first time doesn't preclude us from raising the issue again. That's what appeal is for, right? That's what a Rule 33 is for, right? That's what a Rule 29 is for, right? So, free Puff. Today is what? Puffy's got like what? How many more days left? 40 more days? 40 more days. Countdown. 40-day countdown to Puffy's sentence. 40-day countdown. That's where we at, baby. According to the guideline range, Puffy's base offense level is a 14 on the sentencing guidelines table. There should be no enhancements. There should be no enhancements for force. There should be no enhancements for violence. There should be no enhancements for coercion. There should be no enhancement for minors. Maria, thank you for that super chat. Shout out to my girl Maria. Sidebar, Rule 29, Rule 33. Put that Rule 33 in there, Maria. Rule 29, full out acquittal. Full out acquittal. 18 USC 2421. Sidebar. 18 USC 2421. That is the Mann Act. That is the charge. 2 counts. Those 2 counts will not be run consecutively, meaning they won't be run, you do one sentence, and then when you're done with the Jane sentence, then you start your Cassie sentence. It will not be that. Both of those sentences, the count for Jane and the count for Cassie, will be run concurrent. They will be run together as one charge. If you go look at the sentencing guideline table, base offense level of 14. Come down, category 0 or category 1. Base offense level 14, category 1, come over. 15 months to 21 months. That's the guideline range. There should be no upward departure. There should be no upward departure. For what? You cannot. Amendment 826 that was passed in November 2024 says that none of the evidence, none of the testimony from any of the charges that the defendant was acquitted of can be used in factoring the relevant conduct for the sentencing. What that means is this. Hold on, let me get some water, y'all. What that means is this. All of the testimony from the racketeering conspiracy, all the testimony from the SEX trafficking, bribery, arson, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, force, coercion. What's some of the other ones? Bribery. None of that can be used by the senior probation officer when putting together Puffy's PSI to enhance his level, meaning add points to his level, taking him from a level 14 to a level 19, thereby increasing his sentencing guideline range. Amendment 826, look it up. November 2024, Amendment 826. So what that means is this. The only conduct that can be used to factor into Puffy's sentencing is the conduct relative to the Mann Act, which he should be acquitted for, right? Or really he should get a retrial for, right? But that's it, right? Now, 18 USC 2421 can be enhanced to an 18 USC 2422 if there was force, coercion, and minors. That's the only reason you can go from a 2421 to a 2422, which the base offense level for a 2421 is 14, and the base offense level for a 2422 is 18, which would take the sentencing from 15 to 21 months to, I think, 27 to 33 months. Is that right? 27 to 33 months, right? Level 14, 15 to 21 months. Level 18, 27 to 33 months. But you only could do 24, 22 if there's minors, force, and coercion, which there was none. There was never, in the trial, no evidence came out about any minors. Zero evidence about Usher. Zero evidence about Justin Bieber. Zero evidence about any minors. That was all lies. Nothing came out. And you best believe that if the feds had it, they would have brought it out. Why wouldn't they? They wanted to destroy this man's name. What better way to destroy his name than to bring out that he was engaging with minors, which he wasn't, because there was no evidence to support that. So for that reason, there can't be no 24-22. No force, no coercion. All of those, the force and coercion, were predicate offenses under the RICO and the SEX trafficking. He was acquitted of that. So you gotta knock them out. You can't bring them up. You can't bring them up. You can't bring them up. So Puffy should get no enhancements He should get no enhancements. If anything, Puffy should get a downward departure. The nigga never should have even been in jail for what, it's crazy, but it's here. We're here, he's in jail, all right, so what? We'll take that. We're gonna do our 500 push-ups a day. There go my man right there, W. Belton. What's good? You know them people don't like your schooling the people about the law because everyone would right from wrong. Tony Love, San Diego in the building. Tony Love, Detroit. So what? Puffy done did a year. Puffy doing 500 push-ups a day. 500 every day. 500. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Puff doing 500 push-ups a day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 200 jumping jacks a day. He's in better shape than he's ever been. He hasn't gotten high and used any drugs, hasn't smoking any weed in over a year, hasn't drinking any liquor in over a year. His head is clean. And this 18 months, this 1 year that he spent in MDC Brooklyn may be one of the best things that ever happened to him, because it's given him a chance to sit down with no cell phone. It's given him a chance to sit down with no jet. It's given him a chance to sit down with no Ciroc. It's given him a chance to sit down with no pussy. It's given him a chance to sit down with no butler. It's given him a chance to sit down without the chef. It's given him a chance to sit down without the mansion in Miami. It's given him a chance to sit down without the mansion in LA. It's given him a chance to sit down without the private jet. It's given him a chance to sit down without his 4 assistants. It's given him a chance to sit down without the fly clothes. It's given him a chance to sit down and think and look at the mistakes that he's made. Look at the bullshit ass people he allowed to come into his cipher. It's given him a chance to look at his mistakes. It's given Puffy a chance to look at his bad judgment. It's given Puffy a chance to look at his drug abuse and what it's did to his life. It's given Puffy a chance to reveal his fake family to him. It's given Puffy a chance to reveal his fake friends to him. It's given Puffy a chance to reveal his fake entertainment colleagues to him. It's given him a chance to learn things that he never would have been able to learn without going through this experience. And I bet you, when I interview Puff, I'm gonna ask him that question, and he is gonna tell y'all that he is glad that he sat in MDC Brooklyn for 1 year. Watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. He's gonna tell you that he missed his daughters, he missed his sons, he missed his mother, he missed his sisters, he missed his family. But his growth and development from that experience is gonna be exponential to his future endeavors, man. It's gonna magnify him in ways that you guys wouldn't believe, man. So he done already sat in there a year. Cool. We got that. We could do that year. That ain't no big deal. He's gonna come out He's going to come out better and stronger than what he did before he went in, man. Craig Tillman, he should get a downward departure from extraordinary things that he did in his community. He built schools. He donated millions of dollars to colleges. All that shit grants downward departure. I'm with you, Craig. Black Ace. Salute from Buffalo, New York. Shout out to my man up there, Rough Buff. Special K. I need to step on the Southern District. He hate them because this judge and prosecutor are crooked. It's giving him a chance because he made a mistake telling Cassie she can sing. Wow, yes, it can all be to his benefit. Maria, thank you for the super chat. W. Belton, thank you for the super chat. Tony Love. Craig Tillman, Sean, the judge alone cannot enhance him without the prosecution putting it in the PSI. The judges down there found take me to sentence him within the guidelines. Foundational Black Americans, great work, sir. I see you. Deuce Cigarillo, I've been saying he should get a downward departure resulting in time served. Angela Griffith, what up, Sean G? Downward departure. Downward departure. Anybody got any questions, any comments? Let's get to it. I will be at Foundational Black America, Sean G, the best during this period. Thank you, sir. If you're a dude, if you're a lady, thank you. I will be at Puffy's concert in Madison Square Garden. I will be there. I will be at Puffy's first party that he throws. Sean G, the podcast was sold, will be there. Time served should have been rendered at the end of trial. He was proven innocent. Well, he was only proven innocent of the racketeering conspiracy and the sex trafficking. And I agree with you, Special K. He should have been let go on July the 2nd, 2025. The judge was going to let him go, but the judge was told not to by somebody that we don't know who's telling him what to do. I do think Puffy will be free in October. Angela Griffith, Diddy should have gone home the day he was acquitted of those more serious charges. I agree with you, Angela. Ilyas, the defense have until September 3rd to reply, Sean. Rose Wright, he should have been free. Can these charges get dropped? Well, he can get an acquittal on Rule 29. He can get an acquittal on Rule 29. Craig Tillman, my words come out like this song because I'm driving my truck and I can't type. I'm sorry if you don't understand. I understand what you're saying, Craig. I see you, Craig. Shout out to Craig Tillman. Craig, you from the boogie, ain't you? You either from St. Louis or East St. Boogie? Ilyas, do you think Cassie and Diddy will ever sit down and talk? It feels like she's still in love and in pain. I don't know what they'll do. But for me, all of the people that crossed me, all of the people that stabbed me in the back when I caught my Fed case, I'm a very sensitive man, right? And I hold grudges and I believe in revenge. So anybody that crossed me, I was done with them. I don't know about Puff and what he's gonna do. Thank you, sir. Where can we get all your music? I don't have any music. Maria, do you think the judge will follow his own mind in the sentencing? I agree. He wanted to send Puff home when he won. Maria, that's a great question, baby. That's a great question. That music, that song, Buffalo, that was made about me, that was made by another guy. Sean, question. If they try to enhance him, what government, how many points they can enhance in? I don't know, man. I just can't see an enhancement. I can't see an enhancement. I can't see an enhancement, Craig. So I don't know what they could do. Obviously, if they try to enhance him, it's going to be something crooked, which they've been trying to do all along. My man Lucifer in the building, Sean G. If you can hit up Mama Soul Food in Tampa. Man, shout out to Mama Soul Food. I might go by there and get me some hog maws and chitlins, man. They still open? I wonder if they still open. Play, Sean. Also, I apologize. I am not typing. I'm talking into the phone and I'm on the drive, driving my truck. I already know, Craig. You told me. Everybody hit that like button, man. Put me on 100. Hit that like button. Ilias, I think the judge grants a retrial after the defense responds. I don't think the government will take the retrial for the Mann Act and let him go. Ilias, I hope you're right, homeboy. Shout out to everybody, man. Angela Griffith, I don't understand why the judge didn't instruct the jury to find him not guilty of the Mann Act against Cassie if he was found not guilty of the RICO. Right, but the reason you can't send a super chat, Belton? Oh, you from South Philly? Okay. The only reason they were able to tie in Cassie's old Mann Act of over 5 years is because the RICO, prostitution was a predicate offense under the RICO, and the RICO allows you to stretch back 10 years. So that's how they were able to capture her under the RICO. That's why, another reason why I think Puffy's defense is asking for an acquittal or retrial is because had those Mann Act charges stood on their own, Cassie's wouldn't even have one because it's beyond the statute of limitation. Rochelle's review, just praying this turns out to Puff. Just praying this turns out to help Puff beat his addiction. Free Puff, big up you, Sean. Rochelle, thank you. Universal United Front, salute. Bon dia, bon dia. Hey, Belton, go out, close out of the live, restart your phone and come back in and see if that'll work. I'll hang out, I'll wait for you. One of the biggest points the defense made for Rule 33 is the admissibility of the Cassie video. The Fed's own argument pre-trial was that they needed it for count 1 and 2 only. Too much prejudice. Shout out to Ilias. I know, I understand that, but the judge should have given more instructions on that. I don't know about what instructions the judge gave. I wasn't there. Do you know exactly what the jury instructions were on the Mann Act, Angela? What were the instructions, Angela, that they gave out? Let's go, y'all. Questions. Questions. Everybody double tap that screen. Put me on 100 likes, y'all. I need 7 more. I need 7 more. Lucifer Ratazinger. Homeboy may pardon Puff. Possibility. There we go, 100. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for the 100. Free Puff. Free Puff. Rose right. My man should pardon Puffy. Did you see the civil case with Parham and Combs? The judge wants to sanction Ariel Mitchell for keeping Drewski in the civil suit, even though he provided evidence she's lying. Wow. She's going down, man. Anthony, stand back. Keep it 100. Black polar bear. Black polar bear. Yeah, Ariel Mitchell is going down. She's going down. She's right now being investigated by either the Supreme Court, the state of Florida Supreme Court, or the state of Florida Bar Association. She's under investigation now. She's being sanctioned. She's in trouble. Yeah, she's in trouble. She's in trouble. Buffalo in the building, what up? Odell Beckham also asked for her to be sanctioned in the same civil suit a couple days ago. He wasn't even in Orinda, California. But his name is in a Puffy civil suit. Sean, I know why you are so compassionate about how Puffy feels and what he is going through, because you have been through it, and guess what was the best thing what happened in my life in hindsight? I've been through this, man. I've been through this. I didn't have the money as Puff. I had $1 million and some change. I had a bunch of honeys. The same, my story is very much similar to what Puffy went through, man. Very similar. W Bell, testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. W Bell, testing 1 2 3. Thank you, sir. Hey Bell, where you from, man? I want to shout out your hometown, man. Shout out to W Belton, man. Thank you for the support. You went out and came back in? Yep, Odell Beckham, Drewski, and Diddy apparently gang a woman in 2018. Ariel Mitchell said she had a police report to corroborate. Yeah, I read that, Elias. The cops even come out and said there was no police report. Yep, she been lying to rob his own. Yep, Ben Dre. Yeah, Gene been on the hush lately. I don't know what's up with him. Up in the Bronx, where the people are fresh. And there was one DJ who had to pass the test. He's down by law, and he's ready to play. That's right, y'all. His name is AJ. Never gets nervous when he cuts the beat. Yeah, I read that in Puffy's civil suit. I watch you every day, wanted to keep it 100. Keep doing what you're doing, my brother. Stand back. What up? Hey, Special K. Maria, what's up, man? Canada in the building. TD Jakes also asked Tyrone Blackburn to pay $70K in attorney fees for filing frivolous lawsuits against him. All these sham lawyers are going down. Hey, Reed, what you laughing at? What y'all laughing at? Al, what up? Stop laughing at that man. Chilling, man. Stop laughing at that man. Yeah. What was that spray I was looking for? A lion-ass nigga spray? Pan Peaches, what up? They call that boy Power Bottom Jakes. Yeah, niggas in Walgreens had to get that spray, man. Lion-ass nigga spray. Never once read from one piece of paperwork, ever. Tony Busby. Pan Peaches, I see you. How many of y'all been working out, man? Who taking care of their physical health? Yeah, they sell that line. I couldn't find no lion-ass nigga spray. I was looking for it, though. How many of y'all working out? Who working out every day, man? Who getting some money? Marzina. Stop laughing, Marzina. Kyron, you going every day? What you did today? Everybody put your workout up that you did today. Goddamn lion-ass nigga spray. Put your workout in the live chat, what you did. $100 push-ups, Ant. Logistics, I see you. That's good money, Ant. Reed, I did 5 push-ups this morning. All right, Reed, that's a start. Chiron, 400 push-ups. Been there, eat. Me and little Sean are doing, for the last 23 days, me and my son have done at least 100 push-ups a day. We're shooting for 3,000 push-ups for the month of August. 100 a day for 30 days is 3,000. Special K, aquatic exercise, Beverly Green, pilates, Pilates. Lucifer did the raccoon. You know that raccoon, that cardio, man. That raccoon, that cardio. Rolls right, 20 push-ups is good. That's it. I've been doing 2-a-days, man. That's why my body, I'm real pleased with how I look, man. Thank you, Ree. I've been going hard, man. I've been doing a lot of fasting, eating clean, fasting, not eating. 40 pounds and feeling amazing. All right, Special K, I see you, man. Congratulations on losing 40 pounds. You gotta take care of your physical health, man. Gotta take care of your physical health. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose. Thank you. I've been focusing on my look, man. Sean, and believe it or not, and mostly all those civil suits is going to go away. If they had any substance, they would have been. Ain't no question. Ain't no question, Craig. And he's suing. When Puffy gets out and he's really gets his arms around all the nonsense that was said about him, people are gonna have to pay. TMZ made a documentary about him. NBC made a document. Everybody made documentaries about him, man. Defaming this man, man. Slandering this man. And they're gonna have to pay. That's why a lot of people never wanted him to get acquitted. Because they know he's coming. Celebrity scandal lust. Love your motivational videos about keeping money. Hey, you gotta be strong. Scandalous. You gotta be strong, man. You gotta have a strong mind. Yeah, he gonna get some of that money back. I think that liquor company owes him a lot of money too. Sidebar, Stefan. I think that liquor company owes him a lot of money too, man. He's gonna get out. Got to take care of the inside. It's always an inside job. If you want to make changes in your outside life, or if you want change in your outside life, you have to first make change internally, and then that will be reflected in your outward life. That's the second principle of the Kabbalion correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. You can look at a person's outward life and you can know it's a direct reflection of what they got going on inside of them. If you look at a person's inward life, if it's organized, their outward life will be just as organized. You can't escape it. If you go to someone's apartment, if you go to someone's house, if you look at their apartment or their house and it's neat and orderly and clean, that means that their mind and their inner world is neat, orderly, and clean. If you go to a person's apartment and the shit is raggedy, it's dirty, it's messy, it's disorganized, clothes and shit all over the place, dishes in the sink, that is a direct reflection of their mind. So you can tell a lot about a person without them even saying much. Sean, I just started. I've been behind this and will for the last couple of years and gained a bunch of weight, man. I just started. Yeah, man, that truck is a monster, Craig. You got to be careful with that truck. You have something on your phone when you send a super chat, it stops you from sending another. This first time it's happening. Nah, Belton, I don't have that, man. Yeah, unload them. Do that shit on your own, man. That's a workout. Hey, W. Belton, I don't know what that is, man. I haven't done anything to change anything, man. So I don't know. It might be something on your end. Yep, you got to take care of your inner world. You got to take care of your inner world. If you want inner peace, you got to take care of your inner world. Okay, Stefan Reed says they already paid him $200 million to sever ties. All right, y'all, let me get up out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.